My name is Ricky Alcantar. I serve Cross of Grace Church in El Paso, Texas, and I graduated the Pastor's College in 2010. There were a lot of reasons I chose to go to the Pastor's College, but I think the main reason would be that there were men there that I wanted to learn from. Both the existing faculty and the visiting professors were guys that I wanted to spend time with. And so that was hugely influential in my decision to go to the Pastor's College. Well, one of my highlights from the Pastor's College was just the brotherhood that I built with other students. I remember weeping with guys who discovered really challenging diagnoses of kids or family members. I remember rejoicing with a brother who got engaged. I remember celebrating the birth of kids of other fellow students. I remember celebrating birthdays. I remember late nights at midnight up in the PC library trying to finish papers with other guys. I remember wrestling with deep theological truths over coffee with people. And so the brotherhood, I think that we built is something that we still have. I just yesterday got together with a number of the students I was there with, and we've continued to really be brothers through then. So first, I think the first thing that was a highlight for me of the Pastor's College was the brotherhood. The second highlight for the Pastor's College for me was the practical theology uh, in this way. The Pastor's College is not just theology and not just practice. It is a methodology of bringing together practical applications of the Bible with deep theological undergirding in such a way that it strengthens, establishes, and helps your ministry flourish. That's I think the main thing. And I think that's very unique about the Pastor's College because you can get theological training, but not always practical help. And you can get lots of practical tips from people, but not necessarily be deeply rooted in a theological framework from which you can minister to. So I think the Pastor's College brings those things together in a beautiful way. Less than a year after graduating from Pastor's College, I found myself in a place of becoming a interim pastor at a church that was facing decisions about how to pursue team unity, about how to resolve conflicts in the congregation, practical decisions about should we sell our building or not, questions about staff. And I remember thinking, I am so grateful that I just spent a year immersed in the Word and immersed in mentorship from guys at the Pastor's College because I didn't realize how quickly I'd be called upon to use that homiletics class to plan a preaching series, or how necessary the truths about the doctrine of God would be needed in counseling people. I didn't understand how important it was to learn to talk about marriage and parenting and money and life and sexuality and all these things from a biblical framework as I try to serve people as pastors, much less how we uh, kind of grew into unity as a pastoral team and how we thought about reaching our community. And so within a year, I was going back through regularly my notes from the Pastor's College as I faced situations, remembering conversations with professors or former and fellow students, and really gleaning from my year at the Pastor's College. So I would say it was a grace of God that I had just spent that time. He knew what was up ahead, even if I didn't. Well, it's been 15 years since I graduated from Pastor's College, and I have told my wife regularly that I wish I could take a year and go back and do it again, um, because the experience was theologically rich, it was relationally rich, it was practically rich, and it was that experience also of care by the Pastor's College staff that these people are there to serve and support and encourage and equip pastors and their families for ministry in a way that is just unlike anything else. So I often joke, I don't know if they'll let me back in, but I have often told my wife that I'd like to just go back and do one more year, just do it one more time, and then I think I'll be good. Maybe two more times. That's it. One way the Pastor's College served me and in turn served Sovereign Grace is in the Pastor's College, I learned to be immersed in the text. And it was being immersed in the text and being immersed in the book of Acts in particular that a spark of an idea formed in Pastors College that later became the Antioch retreat that we do annually as Sovereign Grace churches. And so, looking closely at Acts 13 to 15 from the lens of historical and practical example, as well as the biblical truth undergirding those passages, has led to us doing an annual retreat for churches desiring to grow in the area of mission called the Antioch Retreat. And that's really the fruit of my year at the Pastor's College. One other fruit of the Pastor's College in our community is unexpectedly, a number of years ago, our preaching began going out on the radio in our local radio station area. And so every weekday at lunch, people are hearing essentially what I learned in my homiletics classes and other classes at the Pastor's College. And a number of folks have remarked that, man, this is really rich. It's the depth that you explore these things in is helpful. But that really is due to Jeff's influence at the Pastor's College, teaching us a methodology that hopefully now is also serving our city and beyond in some ways. If for those who are wondering, man, for those who are thinking, I'd love to go to the Pastor's College, but I just don't know how it's going to work. That's exactly where my wife and I were. We had enough to get to the Pastor's College financially, but we did not know how we were going to pay our bills month to month. And my wife had just left her job, and we did not have, obviously, I wasn't going to be working. And I remember praying and saying, Lord, if you want us to do this, please open a way up. And the Lord provided miraculously a job for my wife to be able to make this work financially. And so I just want to encourage you. We saw the Lord provide for us and trust that the Lord can provide for you. We took the step of faith of applying, of making plans, but then also at that moment praying, Lord, please go before us in this way and give us what we need. And so if you're there, I just want to encourage you to have faith, trust the Lord, take the step of faith and see what the Lord might do there.